Hi, and welcome to this eSales Hub video on sales performance. So my name is Mark Taylor. I'm the CEO at eSales Hub, and one of the questions I often get is how do I calculate my return on investment, not only from lead generation but from any marketing channel. I'd say it's been one of the things that I've used in my career at Hilton, at Virgin, and at Halfords to really establish the performance of my different marketing channels. So don't just think that this model can be used just for lead generation. It can be used for any marketing channel that you have to really work out what its financial performance is and actually how much money is that channel making for you as a business. So we generally, whenever we work with a client at eSales Hub, we always establish what their return on investment is. What are they looking to do? So they're looking to spend a pound and get £5 back, £10 back, £20 back. What is the ratio? What does good look like? Because a lot of businesses have different margins, have different profit ratios, and therefore the return on investment really can be used to establish, is this source of leads or is this source of sales actually making me any money, or am I being a busy fool? Which I've been guilty of before. I've used different sales channels thinking that, a real cheap lead price, but when I've actually calculated and used a return on investment model, realized that actually we'd be better off spending the money elsewhere. So what does a return on investment model look like? Well, actually what it does, it's a really good way of taking 4 key metrics and putting it together to give you a return on investment, to give you an outcome. A lot of companies use different key performance indicators, different KPIs, but a return on investment model really does give you a good idea about the financial performance, which it's why all businesses are in business at the end of the day, to make a profit, but that financial performance per lead source or per sales source that you may have. So the 4 key KPIs that we like to combine into an ROI model are cost per lead, average invoice, lead to sale conversion, cost per sale, to work out what your actual return on investment is. I spend £1 on marketing and I get £5 back. It's that type of thing that we're trying to work out from an ROI model. Okay, so let's dive into the details. So, cost per lead. How much are you paying for a lead? Now, if you're buying leads from eSales Hub or a lead aggregator or a lead generator, you're buying them on a cost per lead. So it's actually really easy to establish what your cost per lead is. When you're actually paying for, maybe it's Google AdWords, or maybe you're putting an advert in the local press or the national press, actually working out your cost per sale just requires a very simple formula. So all you're doing is you're taking whatever the cost of that media is or the cost of that activity is, and you're dividing it by the total leads acquired. So I've taken an advert out in the Metro and I paid £1,000 for it and it's delivered me 2 leads. That means that your cost per lead is £500. Likewise, if that same media that cost you £1,000 generated 10 leads, then your cost per lead is £100. Very, very easy calculation for you guys to make. Now, the second KPI that we use is average invoice value. Some people call it average order value, but it's essentially trying to work out what is the average sale that you're making from this specific channel. I've found this to be a really useful metric anyway, because when you do this by sales channel or by lead channel, it's really interesting because that cheap lead source that you were buying might be giving you a very high average invoice value or a very low compared to a more expensive, or vice versa. So it's a really good, on its own, it's a really good KPI. But in this scenario, it's really forms really the heart of the ROI model. So basically what you're doing is you're taking your total sales revenue and you're dividing it by the number of invoices. So let's say you've taken £1,000 from your the sales activity that you've done from this specific channel, maybe it's advert in the Times, and you've generated 10 sales. That means you've got an average order value of £100. So the next one KPI to look at is your sales conversion. Now sometimes people get a bit confused, and sales conversion is actually measuring from the point that you've generated a lead, not a qualified lead, but a lead, through to sale. That is what true sales conversion is. So don't get confused with website traffic or users to your site. It's literally the amount of leads that you've generated and then how many sales you've got at the end of it. So let's say you've generated 10 leads and you've converted 2 of them into sales. That's a sales conversion of 20%. So again, What I've done here is it's the total number of sales conversions divided by the total number of leads times 100 gives you your sales conversion. So the next metric to look at is cost per sale. Now, your cost per sale is how much is it costing you to make that sale. And this is a really important metric because I've been guilty, in the past of using sales channels or lead generators that were really, really cheap, but the conversion was very, very low. So our cost per sale was ridiculously high to the point of view it was almost unprofitable. So to actually use that channel. So I find this to be a really, really good KPI because, are you actually making any money? Now, some companies, are prepared to pay a higher cost per sale for generating new customers, for example. Other companies, want a different cost for new and existing. So you can even use this model to actually determine your ROI, not only by channel, but by different customer segments, new versus existing customers. Because obviously if they're an existing customer, you want to pay a lot less for them than if they're a new customer because they've already used you. Therefore, you've already got their details. Therefore, it should be easier to get them to repeat purchase. So this is a really good way of understanding actually are you generating any profit from the activity that you're doing. So it's taking the lead cost and dividing it by the average invoice value. So again, it's using the calculation. So you've already worked out what your lead cost is, you've already worked out what your average invoice is, and therefore you're starting to build your return on investment funnel straight away. And the final thing is your return on investment calculation then gives you your how much you're actually getting back. So I'm spending £1 on marketing, or I'm spending £1 on this sales channel. How much am I generating back? Now the calculation is very, very simple. It's cost per sale divided by average invoice value. So as you can see, you need to go through this funnel in order to actually work out what your ROI is. You can't work out your ROI without doing the other 4 calculations. But what we tend to find is a 5-to-1 return on investment. So I spend £1, I get £5 back. You're probably making a little bit of money. At 1 to 10, so I spend £1, get £10 back. You're making pretty decent profit. Anything above 10-to-1 return on investment, you're doing very, very well. And you'll notice that your repeat customers probably will be way above a 10-to-1 return. New customers, the lifeblood of any business really, of trying to generate new customers, which can sometimes be expensive and time consuming. Anything above a 10-to-1 return on investment, in my view, I think you're doing really, really well. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, what we've got is we provide all of our customers with a calculator. What I've done is I've cleared all the data out, but essentially what our analytics tool is, it enables you to calculate your return on investment very quickly, very easily, so that you can understand, is eSales Hub a good source for leads or not? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a few examples of some of our customers. So we have an electrician customer of ours, and they're paying £12 per lead. So I'm going to put £12 in here. Their average invoice value, because they install car chargers, they do rewires, and they do EICRs, which is they're quite big jobs. Their average order value is 425 per sale that they're generating. So I'm going to put 425 in there. Now their lead to sale conversion is actually 42%. So they're slightly above generating 1 in 3 conversion, slightly less than a 1 in 2, but 42% is their conversion. So when I press the calculation button, as you can see here, their cost per sale, so to generate that £425, their cost per sale is actually £28.57. So if you take £28.57 off that, you're down to what, £390 odd pounds. So depending on their material costs and labour costs, that looks pretty competitive, and I'm sure they're generating profit out of it. But as you can see from their ROI, they're spending £1 and they're getting £14.88 back. Again, above a 1 to 10 return on investment, so that's pretty healthy. We have another company, a car manufacturer that we work with, where we generate car sales for them. Now, they pay £35 a lead. Now, their average invoice value, it's interesting. So the cars that they sell are about, they average £18,000. Now, I could put in here 18,000 if I wanted to, but I'm just going to do this to demonstrate to you. But sometimes with an ROI model, if you've got a very, very low margin, so the specific dealer or dealership group they're working with, their target is to get a £2,000 commission out of every sale. So a little bit for selling the car and then the markup they make on the trade-in. So they're getting a cost per sale of £159.09. So to sell £18,000 worth of kit, it's costing them 159 quid. But the ROI is through the roof. Now, I think on car sales is a little bit different because whilst you might be selling, your average order value might be very, very high. Actually, it's about the commission and what you earn out of the sale of that car, I think, is more relevant. So what I'm going to do actually for here is just to demonstrate the different metrics that we use. Is actually this car manufacturer, they aim for £2,000. So they aim to clear £2,000 worth of commission, if you like, or markup on the car and on the trade-in of the car. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm only going to use 2,000 because I think 18,000 is a bit misleading because the ROI, as you can see there, is absolutely through the roof. So even when I calculate the ROI, they're still getting more than a 10 to 1 return. You know, for every pound they're spending, they're getting 12.57 back. So again, really, really good source of leads because it's highly profitable. Now, I know that for some car manufacturers, you know, generating leads for less than £50 and getting a 5% conversion is acceptable. So as you can see, by using this very, very simple ROI model, you can work out very, very clearly what's high performing and what's low performing. So I think the key takeaways from the return on investment model is it's a really great way of working out, are you making any money out of your marketing, particularly, you know, if you're a small business, medium size, even if you're a big business. If sometimes you can kid yourself that, hey, I'm really, really busy, you know, am I making any money? And I think the ROI model is really good at generating that. It's a real simple calculation, as I've shown you. You know, I've given you the formulas to enable you to do. You can even do it in a spreadsheet if you wanted to. We do have a free ROI calculator tool on our website, eSaleshub.com. So if you type in www.esales-hub.com, you can go to our free ROI calculator and start playing around with it and just seeing the performance of different lead sources. It's really, really good for measuring different sources of sales. So again, when I was back at Virgin Active, I used it to really understand what worked, not only from a national point of view, but locally. You know, did Bolton's sales channels behave differently than Kings upon Thames? And it was really important to get that view so I could really tailor the marketing to being very, very specific to each location that I had when I was working at Virgin Active. And for me, return on investment is super, super critical because you know, whether you're a marketing manager or whether you're a business owner, actually generating existing customers, new customers, generating business, if you're not doing profitably, you're not going to be in business very long. And I think it's really important to understand, you know, the activity you're doing, which levers you need to pull. Now, just because something isn't profitable as you want it to be, doesn't mean it can't be tweaked. I think that's the key thing about this model is it's really interesting to establish a baseline and then, right, what can you do? So how can I improve the sales conversion? Is it sales training I need to do? You know, how can I improve the average order value? Do I need to do some upselling? Do I need to have more upselling devices on my landing pages? You know, is there a specific product that is driving me a higher average invoice value or higher conversion that's cost me less per lead than other types of products? So you can really go into some detail to really understand what your return on investment is. That's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. As ever, if you've got any questions, please do ask me in the comments.